Hello, my name is Diego Freire, and this is the project for CIT 260, in which I will briefly explain my my project about the card game, the Flash card game implementation, and how the project has been working and has been doing until week 8 as required by the assignment. So let's quickly review the game. So we have all the control files are set, all the Java files are set, the models and the view. I especially work with the view layer with all these functions here. I made them and I know pretty well how they work. So let's begin with the first class. Let's not take much time explaining this. So the first class is the public void display start program view. Inside the start program view Java, we find these codes. This code will allow our menu to be shown to the player. So what I'm basically talking about is the presentation layer in which I have been working, and this layer is the first thing that the user gets to see once activating the game, once once playing the game, and this menu that I designed requires the player to type in some data like his name, and then the game will prompt a message for the player. But you will see that as soon as we get to explain all the game and how the presentation works and these files. So first of all, we have this. I was explaining this. The Boolean term, the Boolean condition was set to false to indicate that there was nothing there and prompting the player to get some information. Here is the code. This code calls for a function inside this Java class. Here it is. So we continue. There is an if condition, a done, and a while loop there. We continue. The private string get player's name. This is important because this is the code that allows the game to get the player's name. in- and so here we have the code. The new scanner allows the information from the keyboard to be typed in, and so yeah, so continuing with the conditions, we have a while condition will print this message here, and boolean valid false, system out printing value keyboard, and next line. Sorry sorry, I had some technical difficulties. So here we have, I was explaining the condition to get information from the player. Here, sorry. Oh, so this part of the code prompts, once you enter information, it will allow a next line of the code to be typed in. Next, we have the if conditions, system out printing. This condition is very important because it helps us to know if the value is less than one character, the system will print this message: value cannot be blank. I have set other message like those, like this, so our program will have all the correct values. There is the do action code with there is the private do action code with the string player's name class. So here is the player's name. Sorry, there is a lot of noise in the background. I don't. I try. So continue with the if condition inside the do action function. This is a conditional statement saying that if the name of the player is less than two characters, this message will print out invalid player's name. The name must be greater than one character in length, and will return this value. So here we have another player control. Here we're calling the game control class that we have here, player game control and game control class that we have implemented so far. Here's the if player conditional statement equals null. If there is a problem creating the player, this error message will display and will return that. Next, continue, we have the display next view. This is a class that we define, and this function is calling this class inside this Java class, and we return the message. Next, we have the prompt message and the private string prompt message class, and we have this a continuing. This is a part of this section, the start program view class. This will prompt the player for his name, so it will have to enter the name once, and you will see this function. Once you enter your name, the next part of the menu will appear. Here is the public void display banner. We have a Here is the first part of the menu that I was talking about that will appear once you activate the game and will welcome you to the game. You will see in action in a few minutes. Here we have the next part. Once the player enters his name, this part of the menu will appear and we will have a fully working menu in a couple of minutes. Continuing with this class, we have the main menu. This is the next part of the menu. Once the game prompts you your name, you type in your name. Here's the banner class. This will display the menu as described here. You have this is the public void display menu view. I was trying to work in this function, but I still I still have to add a little bit of code here to get the function display a different menu. But so far, this function, once you call it, it is still working. Continue with the get menu option. This function, this I was working on this function to implement a third menu. Once you press a determined key, but I have to correct a bit this part of the code to personalize for this function. This is the same code that I use to get the player's name. So continue with the function. There is an important part of the program. I uh, I'm actually using the I'm actually using the divide and conquer method to I'm actually using the divide and conquer method to help me create a big project, dividing it into many subclasses. So here we have some subclasses that I define here, and it have as a condition Once you press a determined letter here, like N, this will call the function start new game. This function has been defined in this same class, so we use the this statement. So, and I have a different key for each function once you call it. And there is a condition: if you type something different, the system will tell you that there is an invalid selection and you should try again. Here are the functions that you will call. Each function was supposed to display a different menu, but they are they are they are working pretty well if you call them using the keys that I mentioned. The first time I typed this class, it was underlined in red because it needed to be implemented inside this class. So I added the class and the statement. So each function is called by a different letter. And continuing, this is a game menu view. This was another menu that I was doing, and this menu is called using a determined letter. This is I showed this part because I wanted to demonstrate an example of the divide and conquer method. Okay, so the final part, this is some redundant coding that my team was doing, but it didn't display pretty much, not much. This is a test player, and it was a bunch of code, and it wasn't displaying pretty much anything ordered or organized, but it still work. So let's test our game. Here are all the classes that I imported, so the game will work with all the information that we have in each section. So let's run the game, and you will see that it will display the main menu first. As I told you, here it is. Welcome to the flashcard game. Prepare to test your knowledge about different subjects and have fun. You can select a specific challenge and compete with others, find the missing answers, team up, and learn something new. So this game is about asking questions and solving questions. There were some questions that we were defining, but there wasn't much. There was actually much to be done for these questions, but and they were almost be developed. So as I told you, the program prompts for your name. So you type in your name, simple. Once you type your name, the program will welcome you. Welcome to the game, Diego. We hope you have a lot of fun. Here's the main menu work that I made, and I will tell you, once you press a different key, it will call each section, each subclass. It will activate them. Let's see. Start new game function call. This is the message that I set for the class to work. If we set uppercase, it's still working. Let's make this something. Okay. Letter G for the start save game. It's still working. H for call for the help menu. Still works perfectly. If we try to save our game, all these functions are called as the code was implemented and as the code was made. And once we want to finish the program, we just press quit Q. So another part, I want to test all the message, all the conditions that I said. If I enter a number for my name, it will prompt for a message invalid player's name. The name must be greater than one character in length. If I type many numbers, it will work because there is more than one character. Okay. So if we type a number, for example, another number, invalid selection. Valid selection. You have to select something as established in the main menu. Okay. So I want to start a new game. Yeah. Yeah. Press N, and the new game function will be called the same as the other functions. Okay. So we quit the program, and everything should work. Each variable that I define here has its own time inside the program, its own scope and lifetime. So this variable, for example, it begins its lifespan begins once it is called here, and once the player press this letter in the keyboard, the function will activate, and once it is activated and show this message, the lifespan of this variable ends. The same with the other variables. It is activated once the player enters the letter, and it ends once it displays its respective message. So here we have the menu. All the menus implemented, and it gave us a nice look of the game. This is what I have so far in the project, and I work with. These are some coding that my teammates were doing. This is a test subject. You can see these were there, but it seems this is a bunch of redundant code. So yeah, all what I have been working very hard with this menu. I was assigned to do it, so I made all these menu view classes and the control classes. Well, I think the control classes were just I added a bit of code to these classes, but yeah, I added the menu class. Once the menu was done, it added a nice view for the program. So this is how my project has been doing for that for according to the assignment lesson, and this is all the work that I have done, and everything is functioning properly. These are some functions. So far we have reviewed all the main menu and the presentation layer, the three classes, sorry, start program view, where it shows the first part of the menu, and it prompts you for the player's name, and it gathers the information from the keyboard. The main menu, which will display the principal menu once you enter your name. The game menu, that is a different menu that is called by a determined section of the game that was being implemented. And this is the final part where you you import the models, so they might be working as you define them in the other classes inside the program. So this is my assignment. This is my assignment for lesson 8, and everything is working and done properly as expected by all the assignments so far for the class. Thank you very much for watching, and very grateful for everything and for all what I have learned here in this class. Thank you very much. So this concludes this presentation.